Yo, what's poppin'? It's the Hyphenate, and today I'm gonna break down my standard vocal chain that I use for mixing songs. Now, every vocal is different, every song is different. So sometimes I'll add a few more inserts or take some of these off, but for the most part, this is my standard structure. So let's get to it. So here we are in Cubase, and here's the lead vocal for a verse that I did on this hip hop song. Here to the left is the channel with all the inserts that I use in this vocal chain. Now really quick, I don't really use a lot of stock plugins. I do use a lot of third-party plugins. I'll tell you which ones I use, and in case you don't have those, you can do the same setup, the same process with the stock plugins in your DAW. First, I start off with an EQ, and I only take away frequencies. My go-to is the FabFilter Pro Q4. Now, as you can see, I have quite a few bands here. And then I find the problematic frequencies, but keep in mind, this is not gonna be standard for most vocals. Everyone's recording, everyone's vocals are gonna be different. Now, one thing I really love about this EQ is that it's also a dynamic EQ. So not only am I doing a little cut on that band, I also have the dynamic EQ affecting a little further. And I usually try to keep it closer to 1 or 1.5 dB at max. So these are extremely subtle cuts. After the EQ, I have a compressor. My go-to is the FabFilter Pro C2. And I'm actually doing just a little bit of compression. I tend to not do more than 2 or 3 dB. I try to keep it between 1 and 2 dB. Next, I use a limiter, and my go-to is the FabFilter Pro L2. And with this limiter, I'm just catching some of the transients. I try not to do more than 1.5 dB of limiting. After that, I do a de-esser, and my go-to is the FabFilter Pro DS. And with this, I try to do 3 dB of de-essing. Now, the next plugin that I use is Spiff, made by Oak Sound. Now, this plugin can help remove mouth clicks, but it can also enhance transients to give it a little bit more sparkle up top, depending on if you cut or boost. Now, there is a preset that they have here under vocals to remove mouth clicks. I tend to use that with small alterations to the settings, mostly when I do rap vocals, and I try to make it pretty subtle. Now next, I do parallel compression, and I don't do this for every single vocal. It depends on the person's voice. For me, I don't have a lot of presence in the low end, and I feel that parallel compression works really well with my voice and just gives it a little bit more kick. And for that, I use the Native Instruments Solid Dynamics compressor. They do have a preset here for vocal parallel, and I tend to use that. Now that preset will put your dry vocal to 0, and the output knob here, which is the compression, also to 0, but I dial that back a little bit depending on the vocal or depending on the track, but usually I bring it down to about -3 to -5 dB. Next, I'll bring in another EQ, and generally I'll do FabFilter Pro Q4 again, and I'll do a little bit of cutting in the low end, under 100 Hertz, and I tend to add a little bit of presence in the most intelligible vocal area, which is 1 to 2 kilohertz. So I give it a little boost, not much, usually less than 2 dB. I'll do another wide band also around the 6,000 Hertz. Then I'll do a little bit more of a boost on the higher end with a high shelf. Now after that, I'll add another limiter, another instance of FabFilter Pro L2, and then again, I'll do another 1 to 2 dB of limiting. Now again, these settings are not for you to mimic. Do not use this exactly on any vocal, but in regards to the overall structure, this is pretty much my layout. This is a great starting point for rap and hip hop vocals. However, if you're working with a singer, you might need to do some pitch correction in the beginning, so you might want to do auto-tune or melodyne at the start before these inserts. And I almost never put effects like delays or reverbs on a vocal track. I usually put that on an effects track so that I can use sends on the vocal tracks. Now I do have a tutorial on how to do that in Cubase, linked to the playlist in the description below. Now to be clear, this is not the vocal chain that I use on every single song, though this is a standard structure that I tend to start off with. And this is for lead vocals, not for ad-libs, not for doubles of rhymes or any other layers. So once I've done the lead vocals and I've done the ad-libs and I've done the doubles for the rhymes, I put those together into a vocal bus, and then I do some extra mixing on that. If you want to know more about my mixing process and see more parts of how I mix an entire song, let me know in the comments and I'll try to make a video about it. Hopefully the starting vocal chain structure helped you. If it did, please drop a like on this video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're interested in checking out any of my music, it's available on all music platforms. Just search The Hyphenate. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.